All right, we're going to talk a little bit more today, guys, about these leagues of great teams of the past and cross-era play and that sort of thing. And we're going to talk about a problem that you only really run into when you really try to play this kind of league, right? There are a lot of things you can do with statistics. There's a lot of interesting stuff you can do to make it look like you're playing in 1908 or 1927 or 1968 or 1930 or whatever. There's all sorts of different alterations you can make. There are different theories that go in behind the kind of changes you can make to raw statistics, how you can go back and recalculate what players would have hit in terms of power according to what their slugging percentage was, things you can do with the batting average, things you can do to sort of estimate how they would do in different places. We can do things with ballparks. We can do like a million different things with this. But there's one thing that we can't do, and that thing is we can't create players out of thin air. Why would you ever want to do this? Why would you ever want to create players out of nothing? Well, I'm going to show you why. There are teams that need more players, and you might not know this. We're looking at the 1905 Chicago White Sox. Now, you might remember this from yesterday. Chicago White Sox of 1905, no matter how far in baseball history you go, are always going to have one of the best domination indexes of all time. Why do they have such a great domination index? It's pretty simple. It's because they had very good pitching in a league that had good pitching anyway, and though they were the hitless wonders, they just had enough hitting. How did they do that season? Well, they finished second in the American League in 1905, 92 wins. They were 2 games behind the Philadelphia Athletics. Now, this is that season where they had the same number of wins, and the Athletics had 4 fewer losses. Yeah, that's right. The White Sox had 152 games. The Athletics only had 148, yet they won the pennant. We probably could do a good series on that, actually. Arguably, the White Sox were the better team. When you look at the run differential, it looks like they were the better team, and this was a league that didn't do very well in terms of run differential. As you can see, that's why the White Sox stand out so much above the Athletics. There's a problem, though. The problem comes when we scroll down. This is the problem. The White Sox had 6 pitchers in 1905. That's it, right? Of these 6 pitchers, you had 13 starts by Ed Walsh, right? So you've got a 4-man rotation, basically. Frank Owen almost has 40, right? This is the same Ed Walsh, as you'll recall, who in 1908 wins 40, right? He only had so many games that season, and then Roy Patterson only appears in 13 games all season. He only throws 88 innings. Now, you might think these days that's a lot. That's not a lot for 1905. So we're going to look here quickly at Roy Patterson. I haven't actually looked at this yet, of course, because why would I prepare for a video that I show? We're going to take a quick look here at his Sabre biography and see if we can't find anything interesting. This is always the way that I like to do this research. I have to thank all of the people who do this research ahead of time because it makes it a lot easier for me to look at it. This way I don't have to have 20-minute videos where we look at newspaper articles, though I know some of you guys like that stuff. So we're going to go here through Patterson to see if we can figure out what happened in 1905. He pitched in only 22 games in 2004, had a 99 record despite the 2.29 ERA. When I read stuff like this, I'm like, yeah, whoever wrote this is sort of old school. You don't understand how to look at pitchers. Somebody needs to go back and look through these guys again and use sort of modern methods to look at them and figure out who was good, who was bad, and what really happened. He did have a sore elbow, though that has nothing to do with your record, of course. He could still pitch effectively on occasion. I'm guessing the elbow wasn't really that sore. In 1905, though, he was limited to just 13 games, but had a 1.83 ERA, and there's like nothing in here about why. So we'll take a quick look at Patterson and sort of see what's going on with his pitching in 1905 and see if there isn't some pattern. And yeah, look at this. We pitch 1 game in April 19th, which he started and did not finish. Actually, he threw only 3 innings in this game, according to the official box score. The White Sox lose 3-0 to the Tigers on the road. It's only the 5th game of the season for the White Sox, and only the 2nd for the Tigers. Man, it must have been cold in Detroit that year. And then he's gone until May 28th, where he pitches against Boston and loses 8-5, and then not until June 8th does he come back. And this one, he also pitches only 6 innings. He only pitched 2 innings in this game, right? So 6 innings in this one, and in this one, 6 2/3. He's not even throwing complete games for this team that has no pitching, right? So this is kind of a problem, and he doesn't really become part of the rotation, maybe a little bit in late August. And even in September, he's not part of the rotation. October, he's kind of in it. I mean, this guy's just not pitching. He's not pitching at all. If you're going to do this realistically, like if you're going to pull the 1905 White Sox into a league with the 27 Yankees and with like the 1990 Athletics and, the 1977 Yankees, teams like that, you're going to have a problem because Roy Patterson is going to come up as the relief pitcher. But if you're doing it realistically, Patterson really shouldn't be pitching. He shouldn't be on this team most of the season. I'm going to just take a look here and see, did he have any minor league pitching statistics in 1905? He did not. We might have to do a little bit of research, though, because there's some reason why he's not pitching. I mean, he's pitching once a month for like 2 innings, right? That's a problem. That's an issue. Right? Interesting to look at. So you really only have 5 pitchers on the team, at least for the first half of the season or longer. And the other one who didn't pitch much is Ed Walsh. Let's see if we can figure out what's up with Big Ed. Now, you remember Big Ed. We love Big Ed on this channel. We love seeing him pitch. Let's see if we can find 1905 here somewhere. You guys are getting upset with me for scrolling through everything. As a spot starter and reliever for the White Sox in 1904 and 1905, Walsh went 14-6 with a solid 2.37 ERA. Doesn't tell me much. I don't know why was he not starting much. They only had really 4 other pitchers on the club. Why is he only pitching 1905? Where are we? He's only pitching 136 and 2/3 innings, right? Why is he not pitching more? So we'll take a quick look here and see what the game logs say. I know it could be better. Retro Sheet's not up all the way, but check this out. He's not pitching at all in April. He's pitching sparingly in May, including 9 innings, 6 2/3. I'm guessing it's a relief performance, and then 1 1/3 against the White Sox. Against the Highlanders. And I mean, look at this. He gave up 3 runs early. They took him out, and then Chicago came back, and they end up winning the ball game behind Doc Weiss. So Walsh comes out of that game, and then the White Sox figure out how to hit the ball. Throws a complete game in June. That's all he has in June. And then it's in July where we have a little bit of action. And then in August, September, he starts coming in. Even still, he's not necessarily a big part of the pitching rotation, as you can see. So like on this August 21st game, Walsh does not start. He comes in as a relief pitcher. And yes, this team with no pitchers did use relievers. So that gives you an idea here. The reason why I'm so long-winded in going through all of this, not just because I'm tired right now, but it's also because I'm trying to show that, like, this is a problem if you're playing with them in a different era. If you take the 1905 White Sox and you throw them into the 2023 season, you have a problem. The problem is that if they're playing 2023 ball, they need to have relief pitching. They don't have relief pitching. They have 4 pitchers. That's it. Right? Ed Walsh doesn't pitch hardly at all the first part of the season, doesn't even pitch in April. Roy Patterson pitches once a month up until August, where he pitches like twice, right? What do you do? How do you do this? You have nobody to relieve. Your starting pitcher tomorrow is your only reliever for today. That's the problem that you have. So what do you do with a situation like this, right? How do you adjust for this? You can adjust for everything else. You can even make it so these guys have superhuman, abilities. If you're playing in whatever OOTP or Action PC Baseball or whatever, you can do things to try to make it so they can throw as many complete games as possible. But you have to be careful because you don't want to give them an unfair advantage, right? Wouldn't be fair to put them in 2023 and to say, well, okay, these guys don't have a bullpen, so they just all throw complete games, right? Part of this is because they didn't throw all complete games, right? They had 158 games started in real life, only 131 complete. Now, I know that's like over 3/4, right? But there were games in which they did have relief pitchers, right? It's not like every game was a complete game, right? You have to figure out a way to get this sort of balance. You have to figure out what to do with the fatigue. But it's not fair if they don't have middle setup men, if they don't have a closer, if they're playing in an era that has closers and setup and middlemen, right? What do you do? How do you come up with pitchers? How do you have guys in the bullpen to handle this? Now, I'm asking you this question because, honestly, I don't have an answer. I have absolutely no answer. There are times where I'll ask you the question, and yeah, I know what I would do. In this case, I have no idea what to do. I don't know what I would do at all. I have no clue what the right answer is for this, and I would love to know what you guys think about this. I know that not everybody does this kind of replay, and really, this sort of problem is probably the reason why people tend not to do this type of replay because, you've got to figure out how to do stuff that's kind of weird. But, to be honest, and sorry for the darkness here, to be honest, for guys like me, doing this type of season is kind of cool. Like, I really want to see what comes up if I have, a bunch of these like wacky teams from, some crazy year that, nobody's ever heard of the team. Nobody knows any of these players and see how they play against better known teams, right? But you've got to have some way to solve the bullpen problem. If you don't think about the bullpen problem, you're going to have an issue. Guess what? If you want to play with the 06 Cubs that everybody likes because they won 116 games, you have a problem because of the bullpen. You do. I know. I've looked at it. If you're going to play with the The 1949 Philadelphia Athletics that we've been talking about, you have a problem because of bullpen management. They're not going to be compatible with the team from the 1970s because there's not enough guys in the bullpen. I mean, what are you going to do? You got to create roles for players, and then what are you going to do when you need a long man and you only have 7 guys in the bullpen overall, right? So lots of stuff to think about. I'd love to know what your take is on the subject, and I will talk with you again tomorrow. Take care. Bye.